So in this video, I have the help of my wonderful assistant, Nanami, who won't mind me saying that she does have a bit of a grumpy lower back every now and then. So this video is going to go through basic pelvic tilts with all the bits and pieces that you want to feel and notice to help hopefully relieve any grumpy lower back, which, by the way, is going to be non-specific lower back pain without any recent trauma. Okay, so this is just for people who have a grumpy lower back that maybe comes and goes. You've maybe had it for a long, long time. And this is just a nice few set of exercises to help free it off, maybe make it feel better. And yeah, as a pain reliever too. So if you're comfortable on the floor, it's good to do this exercise on the floor. Otherwise, you can do it on your bed too. But you do eventually want to progress to coming onto the floor as well. So in this position, we call it the semi-supine position, or in Pilates, it's the relaxation position. You want to be on your back with your knees bent and the right amount of head support behind your head. So if I was to just take these away, you'll see that Nanami's head tips back, and so the spine is no longer in neutral. It just helps to have the spine in neutral so that things work with ease. So for Nanami, she just needs 2 little head cushions to help bring her neck into a more neutral position. You might need more depending on the shape of your spine. So how's your back today? Is it okay?
A little bit grumpy.
A little bit grumpy. Well, that's handy. That's good. Okay. So yeah, just let me know if anything gets too uncomfortable.
Okay.
So before you get going, you know where your sacrum is, don't you?
Yes.
We've done this before many times. So if you don't know where your sacrum is, it's the bone in the pelvis. It's this curved shaped bone here. So you've got your lumbar spine. So if you just roll your pelvis that way and give your sacrum a bit of a rub, it's your lower back. Then you've got your sacrum and then your tailbones at the end of it. So give your sacrum a bit of a rub so you can feel the whole length of it and that it's a curved shaped bone. You're going to rest on your sacrum and we're going to go ahead and do some north and south tilts. So just relax your arms down by your sides. In fact, we'll just move those out the way just so that the audience can see what's happening. You're going to press gently into your feet to allow your pelvis to tip towards you. And then you're okay to hold that there? Mm-hmm. So in this position, I tend to ask people, can you feel that your lumbar spine is hammocking down into the floor? Your sacrum has lifted. You're pressing evenly into your feet, just about. And can you feel something's happened in your glutes, your buttock muscles?
Yes. That
they've tensed up in the background? And relax. So we really want that connection to be there, and it will be there if you are allowing it. So just go for that again. You press into your feet. The glutes automatically lift. The pelvis tips, and we've got this lovely scoopy abdomen. It's dropped and scooped. And otherwise she's quite relaxed. And relax. Now quite often I teach this to people and it doesn't look as easy as this. Okay? What can happen is people tend to go for doing the movement by gripping the abdominal muscles, the tummy muscles. So if you can just really grip your tummy muscle, you see how all that, her lovely strong abs are doming up rather than dropping down? That's too much tension. We don't need these big strong muscles for this little low load exercise. Okay? So if you find this really difficult and you're gripping through your tummy, maybe put your hand on your tummy. Keep it really, really soft and allow that connection to come in from the feet. Allow the pelvis to tip. Spine curves down and drops and tummy relaxes. So if it's still tensing up here, can you just simply ask your tummy to relax in your north tilt and relax back down again? So if you're finding that difficult and the tummy's tensing up, maybe for you this is a new muscular pattern to practice to help loosen off the bracing perhaps that you have in your tummy, in your back. Okay? Sometimes there's an imbalance between both hips. So you might have a lazier glute, for example. It's still there in the background, but it's maybe not happening just as much. Or maybe it's happening too much. So sometimes if you press your feet into the floor to allow the pelvis to tip towards you. Yes, sometimes you might notice, actually my sore side is really grippy. And maybe that's because there's too much weight into that side. So you have to maybe shift your weight into your other foot to allow your other glute to fire up. because it's maybe simply just not getting the right signals to do its job. Okay, and relax. Last thing that I tend to see in very grippy people is breath holding. Okay, so this is, like I say, a very low load exercise. It should be a releasing exercise. We should be able to breathe throughout it quite easily. So if you show us if you can grip your breath as you try and do your north tilt, yep, everything tenses up in the tummy and it just doesn't look as easy. So you want to just breathe as easily as you can, maybe even count out the alphabet if you're really struggling to find your breath there. And then relax. Good. Last little note I'll say is if you've got a grumpy back, the first few movements might actually feel a bit sticky, a bit grumpy, a bit achy. But I'll encourage you to keep going with this exercise, and hopefully after the few repetitions, your pain will ease off. Yeah. Because this is a very low load, very safe exercise for basic low back pain. Let's go on to a self tilt next. So you're going to allow your pelvis to roll away from you, to dip down into your tailbone, and you'll see the spine has to arch away from the floor in response to that. Grumpy backs might feel a bit more grumpy in this position. Can you feel that? So this is completely normal, but it's not something to avoid. So I'd maybe go, okay, press into your feet, go into that deep north tilt, take a breath, relax fully, and then just roll your pelvis away into that self tilt again, meeting that grumpy bit, telling your spine it's all right to be here even though it's not very pleasant. And then go back and forth a few times, flushing that area out with this lovely nutritious movement. Keep going. And hopefully again, after a few repetitions, that grumpiness should fade away a little bit. Is that happening, hopefully?
Yeah, loosening up a bit.
Good. So let's do a couple more. Good. And then just land on the middle of your sacrum. Good. So after the north-south tilts, we like to go into east-west tilts, which can be quite a tricky one to master because all sorts of tensions come into play. So let's do some east-west tilts. So again, we want the foot to glute connection to come in. If you press into your right foot, you're going to allow your right pelvis to roll up. If you hold that there, is that comfortable enough? The left side is dropped down. So Nanami's rotating her pelvis whilst everything else is staying pretty steady and still. If you just roll back to your center, you're going to press into your left foot and the left hip pelvis rolls up. Lovely. And roll back to center. Now Nanami has done this before as well, so it does it really well. But all sorts of things can happen in this exercise. And quite often, instead of, if you go for the right side again, pressing into the right foot, the right knee is coming forward. Oh, you're doing the swingy bit now, sorry. No, it's okay. Yeah, so this is the correct version. So she's pressing into her foot. The knee is actually coming forward, yeah, and the pelvis is lifting automatically. And come back down again. What often happens is, as you were doing before, the knee swings over to one side as the pelvis lifts. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not as functional as what we want with the knee staying straighter. Yeah, so instead of your knees doing this sort of wiper blade effect, you want your thigh, your knee to drift away from you. And in this position, you should still feel very even on your feet. So you can still feel inner and outer edges of your feet. You're still neutral in your feet, aren't you? Whereas if you come back out of it and let your knees swing, you've gone onto your inner edge of your foot. Okay? And roll back down again. So if you just do your left and right a few times, connecting with your feet, thigh coming forward. And this is very functional for our walking and running, our gait patterns. As we land on a foot, we want the glutes to automatically fire up as your pelvis follows your foot. So very functional exercise. Other things that can happen, we can have the usual bits like with north-south tilt, we can have catching of the breath, we can have too much tension in the tummy. So you just want to let all that go as much as possible. And lastly, if you come up onto the right side for me, if, for example, Nanami has right lower back pain, often she might find the lower back tensing up. So what I tend to ask at this point is, can you feel your glutes do something?
Mm-hmm.
Can you feel your back do something?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, okay? Sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes for people, it's all back and no glutes. So in this position, you okay holding that just for a moment? I'd ask Nanami to just connect, think about the foot to glute connection and really relax the back in this position. So your spine, your back muscles, your big juicy back muscles, you're going to imagine them just dropping and hammocking down. I don't know whether you saw that, but there was a nice change there in how that position looked. Everything just softened through this side. So once you're able to relax your lower back, probably feel your glutes more. Yeah? And then roll back to center. Let's just see if that happens on the other side. Press into your left foot. Left pelvis rolls up. The hip opens. The knee comes forward. You can feel something in your glutes. Mm-hmm. Anything in the lower back?
Not as much as the right.
Not as much as the right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, yeah, while you're here, can you just imagine those nice big juicy muscles in your spine hammocking? Yeah, really nice. Hammocking down, relaxing, and then come back to center. You can just have a rest now. This is because with chronic-y lower backs, grumpy lower backs, there's a tendency for the muscles to be on all the time, okay? All the time. They forget how to switch off. And so this east-west tilt is a really nice way to mobilize through your hips gently or through your spine, your waist gently. But actually, if you're finding things grippy and tight, it becomes what we call a neuromuscular repatterning exercises. Repatterning, when do your muscles fire up and when they don't fire up? In this low load exercise, we want the foot and glute connection to fire up automatically, very easily, with your back being completely relaxed. Yeah, that's what you're aiming to practice with this exercise. Okay, and hopefully it feels quite nice too.